Welcome to Biography with Plutarch, where we delve into the lives of remarkable individuals who have shaped the course of history. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating life of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Born in a humble log cabin in Kentucky, Lincoln rose to become one of America's most beloved leaders, known for his strong leadership, eloquence, and commitment to preserving the Union. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, were both illiterate, but they valued education and encouraged their children to learn. The family lived a simple life, with young Abraham sharing a bed with his sister Sarah and later his brother Thomas. The Kentucky wilderness, with its vast expanses of untamed land and sparse population, presented both opportunities and challenges for young Lincoln. He spent much of his childhood exploring the woods, hunting, and helping his father with farm chores. These early experiences not only taught him the value of hard work, but also fostered a deep appreciation for the natural world. As he grew older, Abraham's curiosity and love for learning led him to devour books from the local library, including the Bible, Aesop's Fables, and Robinson Crusoe. In 1811, when Abraham was just 2 years old, his family moved to a farm in Knob Creek, Kentucky, where they lived for several years. This move marked the beginning of a series of relocations that would shape Lincoln's early life. In 1860, the Lincolns relocated again, this time to Indiana, where they settled on a farm in Little Pigeon Creek. The family's decision to move was largely driven by economic necessity, as the soil in Kentucky had become depleted, and Thomas Lincoln sought better land and opportunities in the West. The historical context of Lincoln's early years was marked by significant events that would shape his future path. The War of 1812 had recently ended, and the United States was experiencing a period of rapid expansion and growth. The Louisiana Purchase of 1803 had doubled the size of the country, and the idea of manifest destiny was beginning to take hold. These developments would eventually influence Lincoln's views on westward expansion, slavery, and the role of government. As Abraham grew older, he began to take on more responsibilities within the family. He helped his father with farm work, including plowing, planting, and harvesting, and also assisted his mother with household chores. Despite the demands of farm life, Lincoln's love for learning remained strong, and he continued to read voraciously, often by the light of the fireplace at night. Tragedy struck in 1808 when Abraham's mother, Nancy, died of milk sickness, a disease caused by drinking milk from cows that had eaten poisonous plants. This event had a profound impact on Lincoln, who was deeply devoted to his mother and felt her loss intensely. His father, Thomas, remarried in 1809, wedding a widow named Sarah Bush Johnston, who brought 3 children of her own into the family. Abraham's relationship with his stepmother was complex, and while she encouraged his love for learning, he often struggled with feelings of resentment and insecurity. Despite these challenges, Lincoln persevered, and his determination to educate himself only grew stronger. He attended school sporadically, for a total of about 18 months, divided between Kentucky and Indiana, but he made the most of the resources available to him. From his humble beginnings in a Kentucky log cabin to his formative years in the Indiana wilderness, Lincoln's experiences laid the foundation for his future achievements. As Lincoln grew older, he became increasingly determined to pursue a career in law. In 1830, he moved to New Salem, Illinois, where he worked as a store clerk and began to study law in earnest. The town of New Salem, with its rough and tumble frontier culture, presented both opportunities and challenges for young Lincoln. He quickly made friends with the locals, including the town's postmaster, and began to build a reputation as a skilled debater and storyteller. Lincoln's entry into politics was largely driven by his desire to make a difference in his community. In 1832, he ran for the Illinois state legislature, but lost due to his lack of experience and limited name recognition. However, this setback did not deter him, and he continued to work tirelessly on behalf of his constituents. 2 years later, Lincoln was elected to the state legislature, where he quickly made a name for himself as a champion of education, infrastructure development, and economic growth. The historical context of Lincoln's early political career was marked by significant events that would shape his future path. The nullification crisis of 1832, which pitted the federal government against the state of South Carolina over issues of states' rights and tariffs, had a profound impact on Lincoln's views on the role of government and the importance of preserving the Union. Additionally, the emergence of the Whig Party, with its emphasis on economic development and social reform, provided Lincoln with a platform to advocate for his values and policies. In 1837, Lincoln moved to Springfield, Illinois, where he established himself as a successful lawyer and politician. He became a partner in the law firm of Logan and Lincoln and quickly gained a reputation as a skilled attorney and effective advocate. Lincoln's experiences as a lawyer had a profound impact on his development as a leader, teaching him the importance of careful preparation, persuasive argumentation, and empathy for his clients. As Lincoln's reputation grew, so did his involvement in politics. In 1846, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served 2 terms and quickly made a name for himself as a strong advocate for the Whig Party's platform. During his time in Congress, Lincoln spoke out against the Mexican-American War, which he believed was unjust and unconstitutional. This stance earned him both praise and criticism from his constituents, but it also reflected his commitment to principle and his willingness to challenge the status quo. The years that followed were marked by significant personal and professional growth for Lincoln. In 1842, he married Mary Todd, a member of a prominent Kentucky family, and began to build a life together in Springfield. The couple had 4 children, although only one son, Robert, would survive to adulthood. Lincoln's relationship with his wife was complex and often tumultuous, but it also brought him great joy and companionship. His commitment to education, economic development, and social reform, as well as his strong sense of justice and compassion, would ultimately guide him as he navigated the challenges of the presidency. As Lincoln's star continued to rise, he began to attract attention from across the country. In 1858, he ran for the U.S. Senate against Stephen Douglas, a prominent Democrat and former governor of Illinois. In the words of Lincoln himself, "The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew." These words reflect Lincoln's unwavering commitment to principle, his willingness to challenge the status quo, and his determination to lead the country through its most tumultuous period. This period was marked by significant events that would test Lincoln's leadership and ultimately define his legacy. The Civil War, which began in April 1861, was a pivotal moment in American history, pitting the Union against the Confederacy in a brutal and devastating conflict. Lincoln's commitment to preserving the Union and ending the institution of slavery drove his decision-making throughout the war. In January 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that all slaves in states still in rebellion against the Union were free. While the proclamation did not immediately free all slaves, it paved the way for the eventual abolition of slavery with the passage of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. One notable example of Lincoln's leadership during this period was his Gettysburg Address, delivered on November 19, 1863, at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In this iconic speech, Lincoln honored the soldiers who had died at Gettysburg, reiterating the principles of equality and liberty upon which the United States was founded. He famously declared, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." Lincoln's relationship with his generals was also crucial during this period. He worked closely with Ulysses S. Grant, who would eventually lead the Union Army to victory. Lincoln's trust in Grant was evident in his decision to appoint him General-in-Chief of all Union forces in March 1864. Together, they developed a strategy that would ultimately lead to the defeat of the Confederacy. In addition to his leadership during the war, Lincoln also faced significant personal challenges. His son Willie died in February 1862 at the age of 11 due to complications from typhoid fever. This devastating loss had a profound impact on Lincoln and his wife Mary, who was already struggling with depression and anxiety. As the war drew to a close, Lincoln's focus turned to rebuilding the nation and ensuring that the sacrifices made during the conflict were not in vain. Tragically, Lincoln's life was cut short by an assassin's bullet. On April 14, 1865, he was shot by John Wilkes Booth while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Lincoln's death was a national tragedy, and his legacy has endured for generations. In the words of Frederick Douglass, a former slave and prominent abolitionist, Abraham Lincoln was a great man, and his death is a great loss to the nation. Douglass's tribute reflects the widespread admiration and respect that Lincoln earned during his lifetime, and which continues to inspire Americans today. That's all for today's biography with Plutarch. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that understanding the lives of remarkable individuals helps us better understand ourselves.